Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Just housekeeping. Would everybody silence their phones, please? That's just an aside, but would be greatly appreciated. I'd like to welcome you, first of all, Her Majesty Queen Azizah, ladies and gentlemen, to this roundtable event this morning. Why I've taken the floor, first of all, is to welcome you to an exhibition that I've had the huge pleasure of putting together. An exhibition called Tenun Weaving Hope, an exhibition of the Royal Pahang weave. And this year, London Craft Week has introduced a new element to its renowned programme called Country Pavilions. And they say reinforcing the festival as a platform for sharing global perspectives, and has invited Malaysia to participate for the first time. So Her Majesty Queen Azizah graciously accepted this invitation as an opportunity to showcase the extraordinary Tenun Pahang, one of the oldest amongst the many textile traditions of Malaysia. And importantly for this morning, as a way to highlight the importance of preserving heritage craft, but also a program embedded within that project. So the exhibition showcases textiles from the Tenun Pahang Diraja program in Bentong and Penol prisons, established almost 2 decades ago, and that the Queen is a passionate advocate for, which you'll hear a little bit about in a minute. The program's dedicated to educating prisoners in the specialist skills of weaving, providing essential therapeutic activity, which will also be key to the discussions, and the benefits of those will be key to the discussions this morning. So we've convened a wonderful panel this morning to discuss this with Queen Azizah, Lisa DeLong, Victoria Gillies, Sarah Matheve, Claire Swift and Rosie Cate. And so they'll all introduce themselves in a minute and their important work. But first of all, I'd like to introduce Her Majesty Queen Azizah to say a couple of words.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to everybody. I'm here at the invitation of London Craft Week, as Judith introduced me just now, to showcase Tenun Pahang Diraja, or the Royal Pahang weave that is woven in the prisons of Pahang. I have with me today the Director General of Prisons of Malaysia, and the guy next to him was the Director General for Pahang, and he's just retired, and Abu is the guy who's taken over. They're all wearing the silk from the prison, except for, you stand up again? Except for him. He's wearing batik that is made in a prison in Kelantan. One of the only batik, marbling batik, as we call it. So they specialize in that there. I would like to thank Judith Clark again for curating, and what upstairs, what you see, everything upstairs is all done by Judith to showcase all this beautiful wall paneling that's been done there. Thank you, Judith. Just now when we had our small meeting upstairs, I said I'm only going to speak for 1 minute because I've done enough talking for the whole week, explaining about Tenun Pahang Diraja. But what I'm more interested today is to learn from these 5 ladies here what prisons in England are doing. So that it's all about, we want to learn more, we want to improve ourselves, we want to do more than what we are doing back home. There's so much to learn. So that is why I'm only talking for 1 minute. We have a lady down there who's in charge of marketing every prison products. She's right there. So that is why I went out to call all of them in so that they can learn from what you all will present. So after this, if you all want to ask anything about Tenun Pahang Diraja, I will ask you. But let's listen to what the prisons here is is going to teach us what to do, what I'm going to bring the knowledge back home so that we can go a step further with what we are doing now. I'm in charge of 39 prisons under me. He may be the Director General, but whatever prison craft is mine. So he has to listen to me, right? Yeah, yes. So thank you very much. I will answer you anything else you want to know about the Royal Pahang Weave later, but let's listen to these fantastic 5 awesome ladies here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Majesty. Before we start, I just want to say that I think, although you're saying you're really wanting to learn from what we're doing in the UK system, I think there's going to be, and I'm sure the ladies here will agree, there's so much that we can learn from what you're doing there. So I think it's going to be quite a kind of hopefully dynamic conversation in which we can both learn from each other. I'm going to introduce myself last. I'm going to be chairing today, but I'm going to, first of all, introduce these wonderful women that I'm sitting here with today. So, Victoria, do you want to go?
Good morning. May I also reiterate the fact that we can learn from each other. I've been incredibly impressed by the exhibition and the work shown, and I think there is a lot that we can learn and teach each other. My name is Victoria Gillies. I'm the Executive Director of Find Cell Work. Find Cell Work is a charity that for 25 years has been delivering its programs in prison, and essentially key to everything we do is rehabilitation. I was very fortunate to hear Her Majesty speaking on Monday, and she started her talk by saying, actually, what we do is provide hope. And actually, that's how somewhat we do. We do provide hope to isolated community, prison, and we do that also from textiles. The interesting similarities, actually, between Your Majesty's charities and Find Cell Work, as Find Cell Work was started by someone not of royal birth, but of British aristocracy. And she had a huge admiration for beautiful textiles, particularly needlepoint and embroidery, which what very posh ladies in England spent their time doing. And just saw the mental health benefits of this. Like silk weaving, the needlepoint skills were becoming fewer, and a lot of needlepoint was being done with a very wide gauge and a very wide stitch. So the fineness of the craft was coming out of it. Lady Anne Tree, our founder, was also an avid prison visitor, and she just saw the waste of lack of opportunity, and just how much time everybody had on their hands to which they were actually doing nothing, and bringing a purposeful activity for which prisoners were paid, which was very important to her, the fact they were paid, she just saw was what was going to bring hope. And we started 25 years ago in April, going into prison and teaching prisoners how to stitch. Unlike your initiative, we actually send in volunteers, trained volunteers, who are highly skilled needle people, and they teach our prisoners. The greatest thing that you can do to people is give them a sense of themselves, to give them a sense of purpose, to give them a sense of self-belief. And stitching we have a great deal of evidence of the benefits that has brought. The other thing that's interesting is if you're delivering programs in prison at a very high level in terms of our expectations are for actually quite bluntly, excellence. You want people to take real pride in their work, and you also want them to build skills. So for what we're doing is actually a social enterprise in each prison cell that we're working in. The more you learn, the more you can work. The more you work, the more you're paid. The better you work, the higher skilled you are, the more you're paid, and you receive bonuses and awards for your work. So again, you are producing a sense of hopefulness, of progression, and people feeling that their lives matter. And I think if you really are looking to reintegrate people back into society, and you're really looking for them to get a better sense of themselves and not reoffend, which is a huge problem in this country. 46% of people who leave prison within a year will reoffend, and reoffending for this country can cost up to £150,000 in their first year of reoffending by going back through the court system. It is a very, very expensive failure. And I heard a conversation once, and they were saying that actually, if you were running an organisation, a commercial organisation, and your failure rate was 46%, it wouldn't last very long. And I think that's something in terms of rehabilitation we need to look at, so that we are actually providing them, people who leave prison, with the skills, the self-belief not to reoffend. So that's
Thank you. Thank you.
cell work.
I'm sure that we'll come back to lots of the things that you've touched upon there. Claire, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Claire Swift, and I'm the Director of Social Responsibility at London College of Fashion. So our work is slightly different. I'm part of a university, and our department is part of a university. And in terms of the way in which the university has grown and the way in which we teach students, not only about sustainability, but really how we can sort of really integrate their social purpose as part of their own practice. So we first started working, and particularly with women in prison. So just to sort of add a little bit of a context to that, within the UK prison system, there's roughly around 87,000 prisoners, and less than 5,000 of those are women. So a largely male prison system, and a very, very small, quite marginalised, isolated community of women. So we particularly thought we would focus on working with women. Again, in terms of greater context, London College of Fashion was set up in 1910 as a college training women for all of the skills within the industry. So for us, it was a great fit, but also it actually sort of called to our own heritage as a college and what we do as a college. So we've kind of dipped our toes in. We thought, let's try and learn a little bit more about the women in prison, their needs. And fashion is such a great connector. Fashion connects every single walk of life. It really crosses boundaries, and it crosses cultural, economic, social boundaries. So again, a really good inroad into being able to connect, A, with the women in prison, and B, bring our students and staff and the expertise and that sort of shared learning and experiences. So our first project with women in prison was in 2010. It was a project called Unique. We asked the women to upcycle a tailored jacket using old materials, old jackets, bringing a jacket together and using their own embroidery skills. And then we came in and we sort of taught tailoring techniques and skills in terms of construction. And we started to just learn and share together. And that for me was, that's it, you've got me. I just, the students were also completely, in with the whole process. We started to really have a shared learning and understanding of skills, lives, people, storytelling through embroidery that the women did on their jackets. So that was the start of a journey for me. So as a teacher, as a course leader, and started to learn and think about how we could progress what we do as a college, we proposed a project to the Ministry of Justice, and in 2014 we opened our project Making for Change.